Working together, this team is on their way to successful alignment. Here's how they did it. They utilized their student learning data to pinpoint an area of weakness, how to effectively ask and answer questions, and then they planned together ways to address it. This is critical to the alignment process. Let's move on. Instruction is delivered either through whole class instruction, when the teacher introduces new material to the class at the same time, or during work time, when students try out the new learning that was presented during whole class instruction. Work time modes include independent work, teacher-directed groups, student-directed groups, computer-based learning, or homework. Knowing your students and using a variety of instructional modes during work time provides you with plenty of opportunities to ensure the right fit for each student. It also allows you to challenge and encourage them in trying out new ways of learning when the time is right.
First time, my students take responsibility for their learning. In this environment, students have a choice in what they're going to do and where they're going to take their learning, because it's allowed me the opportunity to let go of the reins a little bit and give them more of a choice in their learning and where they're going to take it. Also, it's also opened up an opportunity for me to work more individually with students one-on-one. With the learning centers, it's a nice opportunity to keep the students active and involved in their learning while I can give the individual attention that the students need. It also helps me keep up with their diagnostic need because it keeps me in tune with the students one-on-one.
So, how do teachers and instructional teams begin to use student learning data to personalize instruction? Take a look at this completed learning plan grid, which helps to align the curriculum to instruction. The learning plan grid levels each objective into 3 categories: target, prerequisite, and enhanced. It also differentiates learning activities across the various modes of instruction. This example shows you how a target objective is leveled to produce prerequisite and enhanced objectives, and how each objective is aligned with learning activities in various modes. The next couple of indicators take it a step further. Instructional teams use student learning data to identify students in need of instructional support or enhancement and plan instruction accordingly. Instructional teams review the results of unit pre- and post-tests to make decisions about the curriculum and instructional plans and to red flag students in need of intervention, both students in need of tutoring or extra help and students needing enhanced learning opportunities because of early mastery of objectives. The first indicator of these 3 alike indicators spoke to a more general use of data for instructional planning. These next 2 narrow the focus. They speak directly to using data to identify students needing enhancement or support, with the third one going so far as to specify a type of data that will provide this information. Now we'll hear from a teacher whose grade-level instructional team puts these indicators in action, and then you'll get to sit in on their team meeting for just a bit. Let's take a look.
We meet once a month on a Wednesday to meet with data grade level meetings. So we meet with all the instructional specialists and Ms. Campson, the principal, and all the grade level members. So we meet with them and we have monthly assessments and quarterly assessments. And what we do is we kind of go over the data with Ms. Campson and the specialist to kind of see what is going on in regards to low students and high students. This way, when we have our data, we could track exactly what students are missing what questions and what they need to work on. So it's a lot easier for the teachers, for the students, for the principal to understand what they're missing, what they need to work on, and it helps us drive our instruction. So if we know if half of our kids missed a question on clouds, then we need to go back and we need to work on clouds again. So we talk about data. We also get a chance to talk to her about things that are going on in the team, questions that we have. So we have like a one-on-one time with the principal, which is important because then we save our questions for then, or we save our comments for then, and then that way we could all discuss it as a team.
This is what we did. We took back to this form, and this is why this form is so valuable, everybody. We took this form that you did, where you highlighted your children, their tiers, and we looked at everyone, and we focused on reading and math. So we looked at everyone that was red as a tier 3 child, and those are the people that you saw Jackie and Carol start working with. They're the ones that came up red. Okay, so those were, and so this is where it came from, and this is what we'll be comparing each time. So that's why the new form will have the summaries down there. So when you see them come into your room, and it's going to change every month. The children that they work with will change every month, and there'll only be 1 or 2 children at the most at a time. These are the critical, really way significantly below proficiency kids they're going to be working with. And what will happen is they'll get this form, and you'll get a copy of this. This is brand new. We just started working on this on Monday. They'll get this form, and it'll list your children. This will be added. The times they'll be in your room will be added here. Your room number will be added. We haven't done that yet. But it tells what they're going to be working on, and then she'll come in during reading time or during math time when you're not having direct instruction with them, and they're flexible with their times. And then they'll pull these children for 10 or 15 minutes of intense work and whatever pops up for them.
You saw and heard how that team not only used student data to provide instructional modifications and enhancements, but they also used it to make improvements or adjustments to the curriculum, bringing instruction even closer to alignment with assessment. Let's return to the organization of student learning data that will help us do all of these things. Use data to plan instruction, differentiate instruction, and improve alignment. Earlier, we reviewed the student profile, which provides and continues to build a comprehensive picture of the student over time. Here is another organizer that will track more immediate data, the progress toward mastery of specific target objectives within a unit of instruction. It's called a class progress chart. Let's take a look at it. Notice how it provides a quick and easy coding system for tracking the status of objective mastery among each student in the class. Instructional teams can prepare one for each unit of instruction and track individual student progress throughout the duration of the unit. What's important to note is that collecting ongoing pre- and post-test and activity data enables the instructional team and individual teachers to adapt instruction immediately. Specifically, it helps teachers to identify patterns among students. If many students are struggling in a particular area or with a particular objective, a teacher is alerted to the need for adjusting instructional strategies or approaches. Or it could be a case of misalignment. What is taught doesn't match up with what is assessed. In either case, collecting these data is important. Identify individual student needs. Intervention plans can be developed immediately to address individual learning needs, whether student needs additional time on a particular skill or concept, or is ready to move on to more challenging assignments.
When our teachers participate in collaborative planning, they have an opportunity to review the performance of our students, actually examine data trends, notice where our students are strong, in addition to areas where our students have additional areas for growth. In doing so, we actually take time to go back, look at the assessment question by question. Perhaps there's a question where we have one teacher who performed extremely well, yet we have another teacher who didn't have that same type of showing. Now, we know with the collaborative planning piece that we should see commonality in terms of what has actually gone across within the classroom. However, we also recognize that there are stylistic differences that teachers have in imparting the concept to the kids. And it's those type of stylistic differences that we talk about during those planning sessions and get at the heart of, okay, well, perhaps, this teacher actually took more time with the equivalency tape component. And this is why we see the kids are stronger on the strand of number sense. Excellent. Whereas perhaps we had another teacher who was more focused in on another aspect. Those are the types of things that we find to be the beauty of the collaborative planning time that we have set up within our schedule.
Before we sum up the first 3 parts of this module, listen as this high school teacher explains how the entire alignment process unfolds in her department.
What we do after we get the data back, and the spreadsheet program that we use enables us to sort by standards. So we have 5 standards for our chemistry curriculum, and we're able to determine whether a student has mastered 75% of those questions correctly. If they're already an expert at that particular set of questions that pertain to that standard, then they are finished in our minds. We assume that they have the knowledge they need, and we can move on for them. If they have not mastered a particular standard, we pair them up with students who have mastered that standard or with a teacher, and they work on some worksheets that we put together tailored just to that standard. They take a post-test, just a short quiz on that standard alone. And if they now master the material at 75%, we give them points back on that test. So the incentive for the student is to say, okay, I didn't get it the first time, that's all right. I'm going to work again, and I'm going to work with a student or a teacher to help me achieve that, and then I can get some points back. Because again, our final goal is the state assessment. So we never really stop until that state assessment has occurred, and we have done as much as we can to prepare the students for that as well.
Did you hear her refer to all of the indicators of successful aligned instruction? In summary, dedicated time for looking at student work, assessment results, and lesson activities and instructional teams provides teachers with critical feedback on ways to adjust instruction and improve alignment between the taught and assessed curriculum. Now we'll move on to Part 4, Preparing for Instructional Delivery. See you there.